morning. Let's just take a minute to take some deep breaths. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
I don't care if it is or not. We're just going to do it anyway. Because I need to. You all may not, but okay. So I'm going to take a little personal privilege here because I'm more in my head than my head is the most distracting thing today for me than any aches or pains in my body. So I'm just going to do some deep breathing. And see if we can kind of let go of all those things that intrude in our brain. And today I am grateful for all of you. How's that? And whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. So you all know me pretty well by this point. So you know that I'm a process kind of person, right? I think the process to get there is almost as important as the end location. You know, the destination is, the process is equal to the destination. That's what I'm saying. So I've decided what we're doing today, I'm going to not only teach you two tangles and we're going to do a tile. And I said in my stuff last week and in the email yesterday, if you have a Zendala or a round tile, great. It is not necessary. You can make this design work anywhere you choose. I think it's interesting to do it on a round tile because it's kind of a study in contrasts. And I'll get to that in a second. But part of what I'm going to do as well today is I'm going to show you struggle. I don't know about all of you, but self-doubt is alive and well in me. So I started this particular class planning, and I started to abandon it 4 different times and to just give up and say, okay, I can't do this. This is crazy. What was I thinking? Why would I put these together? This doesn't make any sense. It can't be done. Okay, so I'm not only going to show you how to, I'm also going to show you why I thought about abandoning it, because I think it gives you a sense of how you can lose your way. Is that fair? Does that make sense as a, okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to learn just 2 tangles today. The first one is called, let me put my screen on. Duh. It's a little hard to show you if I don't, yeah, see, and my windows are full of light. Crap, there's not a damn thing I can do about it. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. So get ready. I'm just turning a bit, trying to protect myself from the light coming in my windows. It is really hot here, or going to be hot here. I think it's going to be hot there too, from what I hear.
Yes.
So we're all going to get the hot bug. Okay, can you see my grid?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. This is called Fiore. It's by Jana Rogers, who is a CZT 10. So she's been around a while. I have a step out here, but I'm also going to give you one. Yeah, now I've got myself wiggled here, and that's going to drive me crazy. All right, everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Okay. There's what I want. See, I moved. That'll teach me. Don't ever move. Just stay perfectly still.
Yeah.
Okay. Fiore is not difficult. I just want to walk you through the steps. So what I recommend you do is get either scrap paper or your
Notebook.
book, what am I trying to say? This book,
Sketchbook.
sketchbook, thank you, wherever you keep step outs, okay, and new patterns. So we're going to learn this one. We're going to walk through this one together. The reason I'm suggesting that you do a 9 square grid like I have here is because it kind of gives you a sense of the meta pattern of this tangle. And I think that's the power of it. All right, is everybody ready?
Ready.
So basically, I've just made squares. I mean, they're not perfect, they're not identical, they're not symmetrical. I just did my best with eye, and I did it with a pencil. So this is important because in this pattern, that pencil pattern will make all the difference because it kind of guides you to where you're going. So what you're going to do first is you're going to put, great. Don't you love it? Pen just broke off. Do I have a 5 here? I have a 3. All right. All right. So I'm just going to do small squares in the center of each of these squares like that. Just small squares, no biggie. And no, they're not all going to be perfect. And no, they're not all going to be exactly symmetrical, all of that. Just grab a 5 here. I'm packing. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but so my everything was laid out right in front of me here, but suddenly everything decides to go wonky because it can, right?
Nice sprouted legs.
Well,
Do
that's
that
kind of where I am.
when you look away.
That's true. They get up and leave you, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to fill all those squares in. So whatever you have, you can use your O1 if that's what you're using. You can get yourself a little bigger pen, whatever works for you, bigger, thicker. But basically, you're just going to fill all those squares in. And the reason I recommend starting with a grid is because it also gives you a chance to practice this pattern. And by the time you get to the 9th square, you're going to have it down. Okay, so whoops, went a little wonky on that one, didn't I? It's because I'm going too fast. Everybody see okay? I know it's hard to see the pencil marks, but I think you get the gist.
Yeah.
Both of these patterns are relatively straightforward, so it shouldn't take us long at all to get them down. Okay.
Wait a minute.
I'm waiting. You're going to turn this tile or paper or book quite a bit, so just be prepared because it helps you kind of orient. Okay. Even if you don't have them all filled in, let's watch the first step and then you can always fill in as you go if there's something. Yeah, this is driving me crazy. I can't do this. You ever had, oh, well, good. Now I just turned myself off.
No, you didn't.
Oh, it's such a great day. Okay. Yeah, this is my day, guys. Not. Okay. Is everybody all right?
Yes.
Okay, the first step is you might want to watch and then do. How's that?
Mhm.
So you're going to go on this side of your square and you're going to start at the bottom and you're going to draw up and you're going to fly out, if you will, kind of curve right out to the corner. And you're going to turn your tile or your page or your paper, and you're going to do the same thing on this side. So you're just going to fly up over to the corner. Turn your paper, go to this side, fly up to the corner. I say fly up, it just feels better. I mean, you're just drawing, but just up to the corner. And then when you turn again, you're back where you started, right?
Mhm.
Okay, let's do that first.
Okay.
Okay. Now you're going to aura that same root. Do you remember that you went up from the bottom of this square and you went up and then over? So what you're going to do is you're going to aura down to that same location. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And basically that is Fiore. But I want you to keep going, okay? So I'm going to go to my next square. Okay. And then I'm going to aura the same direction. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody just joined. Just if you follow right here, I think you'll pick it up. We just have a grid of squares with little squares in the middle that are filled in. And now we're drawing the pattern. Okay.
Okay.
So I start here. Is that Anne?
Yep, that's me.
Okay, that's fine. So now I start at the bottom right side of the square. I draw up along the square and then out to the corner. I turn and I do the same thing here and then out to the corner. I turn and then out to the corner. Okay. Once I have all my lines drawn, the next step is I aura that same root, if you will, the same direction I just drew the lines. I'm just going to keep going, all right? If anybody has questions, you just stop me and ask.
So we're gonna do this in each square.
You are, ma'am. That is exactly correct.
Okay.
You're going to do the same. You're going to repeat the tangle. Each square is the tangle.
Okay.
Okay, is that fair?
Yep.
Help a little bit? So I'm just going to repeat that same tangle. It's a grid pattern is what we're saying, right? And once you do this a while, you'll start to just get in the zen, if you will. And then one last row for me. You see how after a while, it just kind of flows. And if you stay in the order and don't do what I did one time, I tried to put all the first lines in and then go back and do the auras. Oh, don't do that. I'll testify. Don't
Thank
do
you,
it.
Peggy. That's exactly what I was about to do.
I understand. I did it too because it seems more efficient, right? But then
Yeah,
every time I went back to do the auras, I forgot which, does it come all the way down to, yeah, no.
yeah.
If I
Then,
stay kind of in a rhythm, keeps it clear.
then Tangle's not about efficiency.
That's the truth.
Well, that's true. That's a very true statement. Is everybody doing all right? Does anybody have any questions?
No, pretty straightforward.
It is. It is.
It's rather pretty.
Okay, so now you see a meta pattern, don't you?
Yes.
Yes.
So here are the tangles, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here is the flower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
That's
the flowers kind of overlap on each other, right? So now watch. What's even cooler, I think, personally, is what happens when you get rid of the lines.
Right there.
And now you can do a whole lot of different things, right? So let's say we decide to put lines inside the petals. It's still the same tangle. It's just looking at another part of it. So let's say we decide, oh, let's actually make this a flower. What the heck? See how it changes it?
Yeah.
So now your eye is automatically drawn to the flowers
Yeah,
rather than the tangle.
It's a focus. Yeah.
Meta pattern. It's fun. I think I have avoided grid tangles in Zentangle because I don't connect with them. How do I want to say this? Emotionally, the same way I connect with botanicals, or you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I tend to avoid them. But when you actually get into them, you can see how they turn into something else. That wasn't the most logical, well, English statement I've ever made, but you get what I mean. Okay.
Still.
Okay.
Mhm.
uh-huh.
Can I show you the second one, or are you still working?
Still working.
That's okay.
Almost there. Do not see the flower. So once you have that meta pattern, you're pretty much free to do whatever it is you want with it.
Absolutely. In fact, what I just did is outside of the tangle itself, Joanne. These dots here, that's not in the original tangle. This accent here, that's not part of the original tangle. The original tangle step out is exactly this only.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Right.
what I'm showing you now are what's called tangulations, right? Where
Right.
you take a tangle and you use it in a different way. And we're going to do several examples of that in just a second. All right. Our second tangle is really easy.
This was easy. Just
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good, 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 good. I'm glad. Because the idea is what you do on the tile more than the tangle itself. So I picked this as a second tangle, and this is the part where several times I have thrown several tiles away, just confessing my sin. And I have given up a couple times and then I stayed with it. So this tangle is called Fishnet, and it's by Mariette Lustenhauer. She's from the Netherlands. You got two ways you can do this. I prefer, because we're working in a grid here, I would recommend you work in a grid here as well. So can you see how I've made a grid?
Yes. Yes.
So I
Yes.
made a grid the same way we did here. I just did 9 boxes, right? I just made them a little smaller this time. But I'm just going to do it again so you can watch me do the tangle. So I'm just going to make 9 boxes. Okay, there they are.
Okay.
This time in the center of each box, I'm just going to put an orb. For right now, I'm just going to leave it open and not filled in. Okay, now I'm going to confess. I've seen this done lots of different ways. I don't know if I have. Okay. Well, I'm not going to show you that right now. So here, it isn't a grid. It's just 9 orbs, right?
Mhm.
And then you connect the orbs. The problem with that, with this tile, is we're working in a grid, right? And so part of what I'm going to do is I'm going to work in a grid with this tangle, and I'm going to work in a grid with this tangle. But you don't have to. You could put your little orbs anywhere. So she puts her orbs like this, right? Just like these, except I've made little penciled boxes around them. That's the only difference. Okay, these 9 orbs and these 9 orbs, all the same thing. So this is just a guide for me. So the first thing she does is she connects them diagonally. So she doesn't do a take off and land kind of thing. She just starts and curves down. So she does a little S curve from the top, from this orb to this orb. She does the same thing here. She just keeps doing that. That's a little wonky S curve, but you get the drift. Diagonally. So here we would just start and stop because our box ends, right? So we just go down to that diagonal corner, assuming there's another orb down here, as we do in Zentangle. Everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
It's pretty straightforward, right? So now I turn my tile because it's easier for me because I have no capacity for spatial relationships. So here's a confession, okay? On the SAT, I did terrible on spatial relationships. I am not good I would never make it as an engineer, as how Nani'd be happy to tell you. But I am not good at spatial relationships. So it helps me to orient myself. It's also why I probably have a terrible sense of direction, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these diagonally, and I'm going to go through that other line. What she does, I think, Some places I've seen this, she kind of changes her direction of her S, but I don't really think it matters. You're still doing that same S curve. It's whether you start which side of the S, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the bottom line, people, is this is fishnet. Fishnet don't look the same every direction. Don't look the same. Don't you like that? It's that straightforward. Whoop. Missed one. 2. So the key to this lovely tangle is diagonal, diagonal, diagonal. Okay?
Mm.
When you work with this one, it's kind of diagonal, right? But it comes at it straight up. Diagonal, diagonal, diagonal. Okay, so who cares, right? Why am I going over this so much? So let me just show you where I think we're headed, and then you can kind of pick your poison. How's that sound? Okay? Everybody got these okay?
I'm missing some lines.
Yeah, I think I am too.
Okay,
Yeah.
usually you
Yeah.
miss lines because of the stuff that goes off and is pretending to be connected to another orb that you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the S curve that is only half of an S curve
Yeah, that's what it is.
that starts at the orb and then goes to the corner but has nowhere else to go because we've stopped our grid.
Okay, let's see.
Okay?
Yeah.
Did that help or are we still, do I need to do it again?
I don't know, that doesn't. I think I got it.
Okay, let's do it from scratch.
I think I better just watch.
Okay, ignore what's underneath here, but I'm just putting an O in each of the squares, or I'm making a grid of 9 orbs. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm always going to connect these orbs on the diagonal. Okay, so that means rather than going this way, I'm connecting them this way with a gentle S curve.
Mm-hmm.
But right here, there would still be an S curve. It would just continue down to another orb down here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and up here, an S curve has come in from an orb up here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do the same thing here. My gentle S curve. My gentle S curve. This is so easy, but I had such a hard time with it. So don't, I understand, I guess, what I'm trying to say. So this one kind of looks like it's just hanging here by itself. But theoretically, there's an orb up here that's going to come down and an orb down here that it's going to come down and connect to. And this one is supposed to connect to this orb down here. Okay? And then from up here, another one is up here, so it would come down like that. This one, there'd be another one down here. This one, there's another one up here that it's connecting to. And this poor guy has to imagine both sides. So every orb is connected by a gentle S curve, diagonally, left to right. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
So far.
Now what I do, because otherwise I get confused spatially, is I'm going to turn my tile and I'm going to do the exact same thing left to right. So I'm going to connect this one, gentle S curve to that one, and then I'm pretending that it's connected to one up here. S curve to this one, S curve there. It's easy to get lost, guys. I'm going to show you examples of my being lost in the wilderness, so do not worry. So now I'm going to do this, okay? Gentle S curve. Now I'll connect these two, gentle S curve. Well, wait, what happened to this guy? There's one up here. So gentle S curve to the one down here. Gentle S curve from the one up here. Gentle S curve to the one down here. Am I repeating myself too much? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just keep finding new ways to screw this up.
Oh, honey, I'm going to show you some real easy ways to screw it up. And the problem with this is it's so easy, right? It's just orbs and S curves, for God's sake. So what you think is, I don't have to pay attention. This is so easy. I can just draw the lines, right? No sweat, no pain. Wrong. Okay. Just to tell you, I've seen this done, and I'm just going to show you quickly so you can decide. I have seen this done with squiggly lines.
Oh,
Oh,
I did that, and that's part of why I got lost.
yeah.
So I just thought I'd warn you ahead of time. Okay. So we're working on round tiles, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you 4 different ways. So this is an example of
Oh,
Fiore, right?
Yeah, in the middle,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, this is my best one. I'm leading with my best one. And then fishnet around here. Okay, now you should notice, do you see all the white out here? I lost my direction totally.
You started
So
doing
what-
squiggly lines.
Because I did squiggly lines. But here's the deal. What I did is the grid I drew, I extended all the way across the tile. So it looks like this.
okay.
ah,
With a string. Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't do it any other way. So basically, this is where I put Fiore
Ah,
in these squares.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then this is where I put fishnet. And you do really well, and it works really well, like it did at the beginning, until you start turning.
oh.
And then you go, wait, which is diagonal again? So all I'm saying, for me, I have to be careful to leave my grid to the bitter end, because that's my way of keeping track of direction. Now some folks
Come on.
who are really good at this could just draw circles, orbs, all
Yeah.
over this section and connect them diagonally and just intuitively know which way is diagonal. That is not me. So I use a grid. So this is one string possibility, and it's kind of what I used here.
Ooh.
And you can see that I did the flowers and then I shaded, so it feels like that part comes up. And then this is in the background, and it would be really nice if I hadn't lost my sense of direction. But
And you left a dot or whatever in the middle of the square.
I did. I left a
Oh,
sparkle in the middle of
sparkle.
both the square and the circle.
Okay.
And that is totally cool as well. Or if you don't know if you want to do that or not, black them in and then pick up your white jelly roll or your white ink pen and just go and put them in there after the fact. Both work. In fact, I think that's what I did here. No, that's what I did on the circles. Because I wasn't sure I wanted that, but I decided I did. Okay, so that's one string.
Mhm.
So a couple of things to remember. This is kind of like an amoeba shape, right? In fact, I think I have another example of that here. Let me look. Yeah, I do. So here's my amoeba shape. This is more amoeba-like. But now I have to make some choices because now I got to draw the grid. Now, I'm going to show you some other ones.
Oh, so amoeba shape first and then the grid.
That's what I did, but you can do it either way, Joanne, actually. Now, if you're somebody who likes things more symmetrical, okay, you can also use, you know, our typical lines where we divide in half and half and then in half and half, right?
Uh-huh.
To be able to get your circle. Then you're going to erase all those because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to draw this. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's pretend that these aren't here. That won't work. But if I took these lines out, I'm going to draw my grid. Now you should get by now that there are real differences in size, right? Here's an example. Okay, let me show you this next. So this is an example of using only Fiore and doing what are called tangulations. So I took the tangle and I did it straight up in the center. I kept it symmetrical in a square.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I didn't erase lines. I actually inked them in, kept this square, these rectangles, these triangles, and then I did different renditions. This is a line I was wrong, shouldn't have put in there. Different renditions of the tangle itself. Where I made the aura bigger, right?
Mhm.
Instead of the small aura, I made a big aura and put in more orbs. And then I just did an aura section in the middle and inked it in for a little more drama. Here, I did it the same way, but in a triangle. And then I just put little dots around it. So it's the same tangle, it's just used in a different way, right? But it's symmetrical. I stayed with squares, rectangles, triangles. Okay, this one, I used a string. So I did a center string, okay? So I just did curvy lines. On this side, I did the tangulation with the orbs. On this side, this middle, I did the straight up, but you see it's bigger. You see that the squares are larger? And it changes the accent of the flower, doesn't it? Draws the eye quicker because it's a little bigger. And then over here, I just went all wonky. I'm not sure I like that at all. But, and I kind of went crazy over here. I don't know what I did. All right, but I just did it I didn't do it in squares. I found that hard, just going to tell you. Okay, so there's two examples. This one, I did the squigglies again, and I did a symmetrical circle. And then I was going to do a circle in here, but I really didn't like it. So I'm not sure about this. This I think would be wonderful if I would just do a circle, but use, I don't know. So I tried to bring my squiggly lines in. That didn't satisfy me. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
I like that though.
Yeah.
But you see where I'm going, okay? So you have symmetrical, which is kind of what this is. It's just bigger than this. The other thing I decided is if I made it a little smaller, then my fishnet would be a little easier to keep track of. Here's another string.
Ah,
I don't have an example of that one, sorry. But where you can do your fiore and then whatever the heck you want on the other two sides. Are you seeing where I'm going?
Mhm.
I like this effect if I'd have kept my fishnet a little less wonky. But you can see that it's much smaller than this,
Yeah.
right? Or even than this. And then here it's smaller yet.
Mhm.
So it changes both what you're doing with the string and what the tangle actually looks like, particularly the meta patterns. Does this
When
all
you
make
did-
sense?
Yes, when you did the smaller grid.
Which one?
The
This
one
one?
that's at 9 o'clock. That one, yeah,
This one.
yeah. Is that a small, oh no, it's not a smaller grid. But
It
that
is,
looks
it's,
like you had a
it is.
line. Sorry about the noise. That looks like you had your grid line go right down the center of the Zendala.
Actually, when I draw my grid lines, I tend to start on this side
Okay,
and I work my way in. You can do it any way that works for you. Some people like to start in the center and go out both directions. I like to start here because then I have total control over how wide my squares end up. So what I did is I made them small. I drew a lot more lines. Very similar to this. This one's a little bit bigger. But you can tell that the way you decide to start in terms of the size of those squares has a big impact on where you end up.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Okay.
part about this that, besides all of my ones I threw out and giving up 4 times, the part of this that I think is so intriguing and probably a good exercise is the understanding that on a round tile, when you take a grid, it really changes kind of, you can still give yourself this round effect, but the grid is still part of what you're doing. Like I like this better than where I kept everything geometrical because I think it's more flowing. The tangles flow one to the other because the grid is the same. So part of why I was going to make this a little smaller is because you can get that effect even better. And it's the same grid. So in essence, this tangle flows into this tangle with more effect than here, where you're clearly delineating how you're using them. And there's not, here I didn't develop flow. Now here, I would, okay, I would put whatever I'm going to put here, which would probably be fishnet, and I'll let them flow into each other because that gives you that effect. That's a lot of words, but does it make sense?
Yes, yes, no, it does.
Sort of almost.
I think it's all in the doing, actually.
It is. No, it really
Yeah.
is. So whatever you feel, and basically what it means is do what you like. So if you like this kind of a string where you do one here and one here, go for it. If you like a string that gives you more definition, and you can do this and then 2 different tangles here, either fishnet or something else, whatever you prefer. If you like geometric, keep it more oval, take out all these lines, put in your grid, and then your fiore will be in here, and then whatever you want is around it.
Okay.
This one is just what I did. Where is it? Here.
Mhm.
So that's the string. I just built a grid in this section. And you'll notice I'm not getting all verklempt about making my grid exactly perfect. And I just start with Fiore. If I make them bigger, like I did here, I'm going to do fewer Fiore, right? Smaller, smallest, medium, medium, whatever moves you. So basically you have 1, 2, 3, 4 string possibilities. Is that clear for everybody?
Clear as mud.
That's not good.
Carmen, I think I need to just get started.
I think you're right.
The bottom line.
Pick a string, start with Fiore, see what it looks like to you, and then decide what you want to combine with it. Remember, leave your grid in pencil, because when you're done, you're going to pull it. You're going to erase it.
May have made my grid too small. We'll see.
I did it both ways, Joanne. When I first started with this tangle, I made my grids bigger because it helped me get comfortable with the tangle. And then once I kind of had the tangle down, I fooled around with smaller grids. So just my experience. Doesn't necessarily mean it's yours, but. So everybody got the email about the next session, right?
Yes.
So just so you know, I am headed to my brother's tomorrow. So any good thoughts I'll take.
Yes, yes.
We will send positive thoughts your way.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Where is your brother?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Oh, okay. And he's okay?
That would be no.
No.
No, he's not doing very well, but he thinks he's great.
And you know what? Good for him. That's
Yeah.
if he's not stressed, that's good.
Yeah.
Of course, it puts it all on you, but
So I may or may not be joining you next week. Just so you know. But trust me, I am taking much Zentangle material along with me.
yeah.
Well, it will help you relax. Relax.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Yeah. Bigger, better.
There we go. That's interesting.
Oh, that's wrong.
I'm gonna do fewer squares next time.
Yes, I understand that. Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna see what happens if I bring my grid out. Hmm. Other thing I've seen that I didn't talk about is you might like is one of the people that did Fishnet did just a tiny shadow.
Yeah, what I do. I tried to put some fishnet in with my Fiore. That's what happened.
Oh, well, that could be hard. That could be
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah, I
That
think.
that could be tricky.
Okay, I need to do again.
I don't know if I'm gonna like this.
At least I figured out what I did wrong.
Hmm. Well, so what have I got to lose? I won't finish it, but morphing tangles is not one of my best skills. In other words, moving from tangle to tangle in ways that feel connected instead of just jointed. So I'm always playing. Interesting. Hmm.
Oof.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. We'll see.
Oh, that's
I
good.
like that.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah. We'll see. Anyway, I will continue on when I return. Um, how's everybody doing? I'm curious.
Now that I'm following directions, I'm doing fine.
I'm looking at mine and I think I've screwed up, but I can't find where.
Um, you want to show us?
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on a minute.
I look at the flower part
Yeah,
and the petals don't look right to me.
yeah, they
They
do.
look fine to
They
me.
look fine, babe. They look the same as mine. Yeah.
I look at this one, it's like, it's not, I
Okay,
don't know.
so the issue that you're having, and that's why you're seeing that, is the curve of your lines.
Yeah.
So this one doesn't look very shaped the way you'd like, but you see how there's no curve in that bottom line? I'm pointing with my cursor, which you cannot see, but in that very bottom right, that one, I'm sorry, my right, so it would be the other end. Okay, not
Yeah.
that one, but the next one, babe. Do you see how there's no next one over toward you? Do you see how there's no curve there?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Very little curve. So the more
Ah,
you see how you curved the
so,
ones in the middle row so much more?
right,
And
right.
you like those petals better, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And that's because of the curve. So the petals will have more petal-like shape. The more when you fly up to the corner, the more you curve the line.
Okay. Ah, all right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it looks
Think-
fine. I mean, there's not one
Yeah.
darn thing wrong with it. It's just if
Mhm.
you or I wants to see it more petal shaped, like I can show
Yeah.
you. Like with mine, the more I curve that first line,
Right.
the more it looks like a petal. The less I curve, the less it looks like a petal.
Okay.
Hmm.
I have to try it a few more
Let me see
times.
that.
See,
Yeah.
I didn't curve much here. You see that funny shape there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, it's because there wasn't very much curve. See, there's almost no curve there.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
almost like I went straight over. And as soon as you take a curve out, then the shape of the petal changes.
Okay.
Let me see if I can, I'll do
Hmm.
one more just to show you what I mean. So,
Mhm.
I'm trying to shortcut this and I probably won't work for me.
It's an interesting way to do it, though.
Not very good though. So the more I curve, the more
Ah.
that shape is more
Okay.
like, does that make some sense?
Yeah.
So here, if I
Yeah.
come this way, the
That's
more I
getting better.
curve, okay,
Yeah.
it's going to change that. See, I made them too close together, so now it looks leaf-like.
Yes.
But it's all about the spacing of the boxes and the curve of the line.
Okay.
Does that help a little?
Yes, I think so.
See
Good.
here, if you look here,
Guys,
my petals are kind of wonky.
just with that,
Which one
like this
is
picture.
it? Is
Yeah,
it?
just the blocks.
Okay.
So it all depends on how much you curve, and that's the only difference.
Okay. Yes. All right.
Because you can see here, I curve a little more. So that's
Yeah.
changes the shape of the petal.
Okay.
Now, none of that matters because in the end, when you fill in, no one's going to notice the shapes of the petals at all. So either if you use lines or if you use shading, if you shade in from the inside, I thought I shaded one, but I'm not seeing it. So there you go. I probably threw it away. If you shade out, nobody's going to pay any attention to the shape of the petal. It's not going to be the focus.
Okay. Got it.
See, my petals aren't all the same. Look at this one's flat and wonky. This one's tall and skinny. I mean, flower petals aren't all the same.
That's true.
So it's okay. It's all good.
All right. Keep going.
Keep going. You're good.
Alrighty.
Speaking of going, unfortunately, that's what I need to do. I can't wait when I see the video to see what all of you did. Thank you, Haunani.
Thanks, Peggy.
Thanks.
Well, thank you.
Thinking of you, Peggy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Safe trip.
Thanks.
In about a minute, I'm going to wrap up and start to have you guys share.
Okay.
That's very wonky.
Word
Oh,
wonky a
it is
lot of times this morning.
Wonkiness, a lot of wonkiness.
We will just embrace the wonkiness. How about
Yeah.
Embrace the wonky.
okay?
Works for me.
So there are 9 of us. So I'm just gonna keep, all right, I'll show first. Let's see, how do I, all right, I think this, all right. So here's my,
Oh, I
Oh,
love that.
wow.
Whoa, we lost you.
Yeah. We
but
lost.
I don't know how, I
There you
wanna,
go.
Beautiful.
I wanna put something in here to write.
wow.
And I'm not exactly
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, we all
Yeah.
need to be quiet. That's the problem.
Oh, sorry.
It's gone.
I have to figure out how to shade it to give it dimension or something. Anyway, so this is mine.
Beautiful. Very nice. Very nice.
And Joanne Meyer, I'm gonna
Okay. Well,
hold
we'll see
on.
what-
It doesn't seem to hold.
It doesn't hold because we're talking and there's something to make us to just make it so it's the
I-
person shows, but we can talk.
I put a pin on Joanne, so only her tile. Can you see her tile?
No.
No.
All right. Hold on. Maybe I need to do something else. Oh, here we go. Spotlight for everyone. Sorry. So, Joanne, are you?
I've got it like right in the middle of my square, yeah. But I'm off to the.
There you go.
Oh, yes.
That's
Oh,
good.
Joanne, that's
Ready.
Really nice line work.
Hmm.
kind of wonky, but yeah, it's a start.
But it works.
Marie, do you want to share today?
Yeah, I wish I'd have made my grid bigger too.
Hold on, dear. Let me get you. There you go.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, Marie, that's
lovely.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Too many blocks.
And Janet, let me.
Okay. I did not get this at all today.
Oh.
Sorry.
What do
But
you mean?
Sorry, they
not?
got-
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Well,
It works.
that's right.
I'm trying.
It's really good
Yeah.
that you started off with larger squares because
Yes.
then it was easier to keep track.
Yeah. It's funny.
Margaret,
I
how
can
about
see
you?
I can see the flower when I'm looking at it in the screen, but I can't see it when I'm looking at it in person. I-
You know what? Do a little shading to
Yeah.
just to give
Yeah.
you the outline.
It needs more help.
Oh, look at that.
There you
Oh
go.
my goodness.
Beautiful.
Oh my
I
goodness.
love
Nice.
that.
Very nice.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice
It-
blending.
It helped,
Yes.
it helped to have the squares bigger.
Yeah. I just-
So I'm working on that.
That was gorgeous.
Susan Mickelson.
Oh,
Oops.
Lost your
You
video.
lost your-
Unmute.
You turned your video off.
Well, I'm trying to turn it back on. There we
There.
go.
there you go.
Oh,
I made my
Yeah.
squares too big and my orbs too small.
No,
in
but I like that.
center.
yeah.
That's
It
nice.
looks good.
Now, once you start coloring and or shading, I don't think you're going to regret that you made it big.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. The grid was big. I started with a small one and then redid it big.
Smart. Okay, Anne.
Okay.
This is coming along good.
Oh,
lovely.
oh, I like that.
Very
Lovely,
nice.
Goodness.
lovely.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
organized.
Flowers.
Yeah, well, I started out thinking I'd have all of the lines coming to the center. But
Yeah.
then when this flower shares that petal,
Yeah,
it
there you
doesn't
go.
work. So
It's just in front of it, okay? Think about it that way.
I like that thought. Okay.
Hey, Veronica. Whoa.
Oh, wow.
I do not like fishnet.
Yeah.
It looks like the veins in my legs. I don't like doing it.
It's funny.
Anyway, but the
Good.
center stuff I liked.
Mary, how about you next?
Okay.
Oh,
Look at-
yeah.
Ah, very
Like
nice.
the border.
Oh, I like
Lovely.
that.
I put
Yeah,
a black border
border.
because
Yes.
the fishnet was drifting away. And
Good.
one of these tried to go with it.
There you go.
It was fun.
That's good.
Like in
Looks
Myra.
good.
Okay, Myra. You can.
Okay, well, of course, I'm always the tiny one, so I was just practicing the,
That's
but,
so
Oh, I
It's
like
gonna be
that.
nice.
but it's gonna, so slow and steady, but it's good.
And Mike.
And I was having trouble. I started off on a round tile and I didn't. So anyway, I went back to square one and
Okay,
All
There you
right.
go.
I like
the
that.
simplest one I could do.
I can understand that.
Yeah,
So how many people actually
it's
did?
tricky.
Okay, I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to show mine again since mine did not,
Oh, but I like
Oh,
that.
Mhm.
nice. Yeah.
That is.
Very good.
I do like that.
if
Like
we
the
had-
moon.
Mhm.
yeah, just so that I could have space here to write a little poem or something.
Mhm.
Nice.
Oh, that'd be good.
Nice.
So before I leave, do you have any suggestions for our next class? And if not, I do.
Okay.
Let Peggy know how well you enjoyed this class,
Yes,
because she'll go over
Yes.
the videos.
Um,
This was fun.
it
Yeah,
was.
Nani?
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I like
Oh,
this.
Nani,
Let's do
at one time, and I think it was perhaps when Hillary came here, I'm not sure, but we did the rocks laying on top of each other, the
Right.
carrying. I never did learn how to do that, and I was just wondering if there's ever a chance we would, because that has the coloring.
Sure.
We've
I
used,
get that. You would need a large tile.
yes,
So basically, a cairn is a stack of rocks, wonky,
yeah.
kind of wonky rocks that are not all similarly shaped. Some are big, some are small, but they're all stacked. So just imagine a vertical tile where it's just stacked, small to large, and then you tangle within each of those strings, so to speak, that the rocks are actually individual strings. You tangle within them and then you color them. And you'd be amazed at not only the 3D, but how they actually look like rocks. Yeah. So
Well,
that's
I just found one of mine and it doesn't look like rocks yet. So I was just wondering if we'd ever go back and revisit that.
oh, sure. I mean, so there's lessons to be learned. Here's the thing. When I taught the coloring class, I did not know what I did not know. So I kept doing the same thing over and over. But now I'm at my work now and I'm doing it differently. So I think it's a good thing to revisit what you've done, to have a fresh new look at it as we've progressed along our journey with Zentangle. So if you guys are all in about that, and it's a fun one. Hillary actually did that via Zoom.
Okay.
As I remember having 3 ladies here at my home doing it with. So anyway, that was fun. Peggy's going to come up here because she doesn't think her, wait, let me stop recording. Ah, here we go.